Hey, good morning. Good morning. Let me know if you can hear me and you can see me okay while I get this live stream set up. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. You're winding down for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and you're ready to have a really, really good week full of relaxation time, time with family, a time to reflect on our year and kind of gear up and build up our energy to make 2025 the best year yet. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be covering the shortcuts to building a team and ultimately how to build a culture and a team that builds your business on your behalf so that you can spend your time focusing on the parts of the business that absolutely light you up, that you're most passionate about, where you have systems and people in place where you can actually take a weekend off or go on a vacation where you continue to make money in the process. So today I'm going to be covering really three primary tips and strategies that you should have in your back pocket and should be considering whether you're already building a team or thinking about building a team in the future, to hopefully give you a little bit of clarity around what you're going to need to do if you're looking to grow and scale in 2025. So if you are all here right now, comment live. If you're catching the replay, comment replay. That helps tell the algorithm that this is a video that people are getting value out of, and to show it to more people inside of our Cash Physical Therapy headquarters community. So again, what we're going to be covering here today are the shortcuts to hiring elite PTs and ultimately how to build systems and a culture that allows you to actually step away from the business and transition from business owner and job owner to real CEO, where your previous job or you're self-employed, the practice you started turns from a job into an actual asset. Now, it becomes an asset when you can pass the bus test, which means if you got hit by a bus today, do you still have a running and functioning business that can continue to produce income and revenue for your family and continue making an impact within your business? Most people can't say yes to this question. My practice can pass the bus test. And so today I'm going to give you a few things to consider and think about as you're looking at building and expanding your team going into 2021. So a little bit of a story. Over the last year and a half or so, we've been aggressively scaling both Clinical Marketer and Ben's practice, Pro Kinetics, and we've hired multitudes of people where we had some retention issues. We had people leaving. We had trouble finding the right people. And ultimately, it led to a point where we're really constrained in the business. We're struggling to continue to grow. We're just trying to maintain what it is that we had. And we tried dozens and dozens of different tests on job postings and interviewing potential candidates, trying to figure out what exactly do people want? What are they looking for in terms of jobs? How do we attract the absolute best talent into our practice? Because at the end of the day, the secret to building a healthy, thriving, self-sustaining practice is having the right people in the right positions. And not being able to attract the right people is going to bring your practice down, because if you have the wrong people on the team, you're not going to be able to attract A players into your team. If you have a team of B and C players, all the A players are going to look at that and they're going to say no thank you. They want to be on teams with other elite physical therapists. And so we have to make sure that we are attracting the right people. Then on the other hand, we have to make sure that we're actually retaining those people, because right now 18% of all turnover in business, the average business has an 18% turnover rate, and 12% of that 18% are voluntary. Is voluntary turnover, meaning about 80 or 70 to 80% of every single person that leaves their job, they're quitting. And now that, and with that, the average cost to replace someone in your business is upwards of 50 to 200% of what their annual salary is. So not being able to retain your talent is one of the most expensive mistakes that you can make as a business owner. And so we have to start figuring out, like, okay, when do we hire? How do we attract the A players? And then how do we actually retain those people long term so that we're not always wasting tremendous amounts of time trying to find new people and replace those positions, or then have to train them. Last year alone, we've missed out on over $300,000 to $400,000 in revenue because we're focused, had to spend so much time trying to find new people to fill those positions. And so we now this year have not only filled all of our positions and will no longer have to hire for at least the next 6 to 12 months, but we've expanded our practice. Sorry about that. We've expanded our practice, and now we're in a really good position where we should be able to cap $2.5–3 million per year with the team we now have in place. Now, again, this practice is 100% self-sustaining. Ben manages this practice entirely remotely. He only has to step into the practice a few weeks out of the entire year, which is why he is able to spend all of his time coaching and mentoring inside of our coaching programs. And it all comes down to these hiring principles. How do we know when to hire? How do we find the right people? And then how do we retain them long term? So today I'm going to go over some key things to think about in each of those 3 areas. But obviously, in a 30 to 45-minute training, I can't teach you every single thing there is to know about building elite teams. But I can give you some really, really powerful things to consider and to plan for as you're putting together your 12-month plan going into 2025. So the number one thing to understand is that you need to eventually build a team. If you started your practice because you wanted more time and personal freedom, the problem with going at it solo is that the business always relies on you. If you get sick, if you go on vacation, your income stops, and it becomes an incredibly risky game to play running a business completely by yourself, right? Not only for yourself and your income, but for your family and its future. Because odds are you didn't start your own cash practice so that you could treat a full caseload until you're 80 years old, right? And that's really what you're looking at when you're only focused on being a solo provider. And so at some point, if you want to have freedom and some peace of mind, you're going to have to hire. Because what I've seen happen time and time again is when people start their cash practice, all they're thinking is getting out of their job and being able to treat patients how they want and when they want. And when they first start the practice, the first 6 to 12 months, when they do finally have a full schedule, it's incredibly rewarding and it's fulfilling and it's a lot of fun. But what happens so consistently almost every single time is once a full caseload is maintained for 2 to 3 months, the entrepreneur starts to realize, like, oh my gosh, like, can I keep this up? Because they're seeing a full caseload, they're managing all the admin work, they're doing all of the marketing, they're doing all of the sales. Meanwhile, they're trying to start families, they're trying to be a great partner, they're trying to get out there in the community, and it's so much weight. Once it is successful, it becomes the hardest position to stay in, even harder than getting started. Maintaining and keeping a full schedule when it's actually working, doing that by yourself becomes the most stressful stage of entrepreneurship as a cash physical therapist. And they very quickly realize, like, oh my God, like I don't want all this pressure on me all the time for the next couple of years. Like, I'd love to be able to step away and maintain the same kind of impact and income that I've been generating. And so they start to realize that their life is actually way harder and way scarier if they stay a solo clinician versus actually building and hiring a team. And so they finally start to come to the conclusion, it's like, fine, I'm going to face my fears. I'm going to build this team so that I can finally step away from the business. And thanks to this, we have clients not only going from making more money than they ever had, but now they're able to take more vacations. They're able to relax way more because each and every day they're able to buy back their time by hiring somebody. And now the only thing that they have to do is the main parts of the business that they love the most, which is mentoring, leading, doing the marketing, getting out there in the community and building awareness around the tremendous service that they had created. And so those are the life cycle of a cash physical therapy entrepreneur. First, you provide a service for money where you are a job owner, and that usually will get you to your first maybe $100,000 in a year. But then you need to start building the systems that get your time back. So once you have the skill, you get to your first $100,000, to get to your first $250,000 a year, you're going to need some processes and some systems to make the patient experience, the marketing, the sales consistent, where it no longer relies just on your motivation and your energy every single day. You're getting some of your time back through systems. Okay, that's going to get you to your first $250,000 a year. But then the phase 3, in order to grow beyond yourself, where you're starting to get your time, is you start to build the people that build the business. So it starts with skill, then you create systems that turn your skill into an actual business, a repeatable process. And then in order to scale that to $500,000 a year or $1 million a year, now it's your job to build the people that build the business. And so those are the 3 stages of growth as a cash physical therapy entrepreneur. Now, a lot of people, when they start to get to the stage of building their team, it's a really, really scary thing. And people are putting their job postings out there and they're not getting any candidates. And there's a few things that we need to realize when it comes to attracting talent that a lot of people don't consider until it's too late, right? And so number one is we have to understand that we think that it's so hard to find talent, but the reality is that it's much, much harder to find good management. PTs are burnt out. They've been run through a crucible of insurance-based practices, working at hospitals where they're seeing 20 to 30 patients a day, and they can't find organizations that give them the time freedom and the lifestyle and the mentorship that they're looking that would allow them to truly thrive and to feel fulfilled in what it is they're doing. That's why physical therapists are leaving the industry in droves, because they just can't find good management. And so the key to attracting great talent is, first of all, focusing not just on your salary, but focusing on what can you provide individuals that goes beyond just salary, because they're always going to be able to find a salaried position that's going to be better than yours. And so the key is finding a way to motivate and to attract people that isn't based just on how much you're able to pay them. Okay, so that's part number one. Realize that it's not, it's far harder to find good management than it is to find good talent. Now, the other piece is that we have to understand what actually motivates. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share a really powerful graphic with you guys real quick. I'm going to share my screen, window, that one. Okay. So this is a presentation from one of our first ever live events. And so if we're going to start attracting talent, we have to understand how do we actually motivate people and get them to want to come and work for us. So here is that slide. Let me blow this up for you. Okay. And so there's a couple different ways that we can motivate and incentivize people to want to come in and work for us. And so first of all, there's short-term benefits that we can give them, as well as long-term benefits. Now, we want to make sure that people who come and work with us, they're motivated to be with us for a long time. Because as I mentioned earlier, turnover is the most expensive thing that can sink your practice. That cost us nearly $500,000 in 2024 alone, just dealing with turnover and retention issues and getting the right people in the slot, because it does take some time to find the right people, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment. But if we're trying to get people to stick with us long term, we have to think bigger than just material offerings. Because if we just focus on the types of equipment that we have, if we just focus on the salary and the benefits that people are going to have, that trains them to only think about themselves and to only think in the short term, because those things are great. But once you give someone $100,000 salary, next year they're going to be asking for more and more and more, and it's never actually going to be enough. And so material offerings, if that's your core focus, that's not only going to not attract a lot of people, but it's also going to attract short-term thinkers that only think about themselves. Now, a part of your job posting could be about the personal mentorship you're going to be providing, the growth and the development that you're going to be pouring into these people. Now, this is a lot better because it gets people thinking long-term about your job posting, but it still gets them to only think about the individual. They're only thinking about themselves. Now, if we want to get people thinking more long-term and thinking about the collective and thinking from a team perspective, which is ultimately what gets people to stick around with companies longer, we can talk about the connection in the community, the types of patients that we have, the culture that we've created, the team atmosphere that we've created, and the work-life balance of get to have when they go from seeing 30 visits a week going down to 6 to 8 visits a week. By talking about connection and community, where people feel safe, they feel heard, they understood that they're a part of a tribe. This is really, really powerful. But again, this is really getting them to think about short-term benefits, because at the end of the day, every single one of us has had a job where we had a work colleague that was like our best friend. We'd go grab drinks afterwards, but eventually we left that job and then never talked to that person again. So connection and community is huge with getting people to think less about themselves and more about the team atmosphere. But again, it's a short-lived asset. Now, if we want people to both think about the team collective and think about sticking with us long term, then we need to have more meaning and purpose in what it is we're doing. We need to have a mission as a company that's bigger than ourselves and that's big enough to fit the vision of the individual inside of. They need to feel like they can achieve their own personal vision for themselves and their personal mission through achieving the company's mission and purpose. That is how we're going to get people to want to stay with us, who are willing to take pay cuts to come and work for you because of what it is your business and your organization represents, the mission it's trying to do, and what it feels like to be a part of that team and a part of that mission. And if we don't give people a strong mission and vision to accomplish as a team member on your business, their mission is always going to be to serve themselves. One of my favorite quotes that I've gotten from one of my mentors that helped me a lot was, if your teams isn't aligned in the service of a mission, their mission is always going to be to serve themselves. And as long as their mission is purely to serve themselves, you are going to have high turnover and high retention, because any single person that can offer a bigger salary is going to be able to steal your people away. And so we need to be able to create large, big missions that encapsulate the lifestyle and the purpose that the person you're trying to attract wants to be a part of. And so really the biggest key to building a team and attracting the right people is making sure that your mission is bigger than just you making more money and getting your time back. Although many of you who start your practice, you do so because it was out of necessity. You were working in a job that drained you. You knew that you weren't going to make enough money to be able to retire when you wanted to, and you just weren't going to be able to have the kind of leverage in life that you wanted to have. And so you started a business. And that is going to get you started. That's going to get you to your first full schedule. But in order to build a team, you need to elevate what it is that you're hoping to accomplish. You need to have deeper purpose in your life and in what it is you're trying to accomplish, to not only attract people, but to also allow you to get through the hard times that you're inevitably going to have as a business owner. If your only mission is to make more money, then when you go through a rough season in your business where maybe lead acquisition was down, your schedule's a lot emptier than it needs to be, and you're making less money, or maybe your schedule's full but you're not as profitable as you usually are. If your only purpose is to make more money, then you're going to look at those problems and you're going to look at the opportunity where you could just go work somewhere else that's going to pay you a lot better. If you don't have a strong purpose and mission beyond money, you're going to just look at getting another job and going and getting your old job back, because that's the easier thing to do, because you don't have a strong mission or purpose driving you to do the harder thing that's better for the long-term impact of what you're trying to do, which is figure out how to make more money and how to make more profits. Okay. And so we need to have a strong core vision and mission and core values that drive our actions each and every day, that when we do start to hire, people can feel and align themselves with our mission and with our culture to feel like this is the place that they've been looking for. This is a place where they can truly thrive, that they've been just starved of in the jobs that they currently have. And so that's number one. Before we even start hiring, we need to figure out, like, what is our mission? What is our purpose? And how can we make sure that we're creating something that offers more to prospective new hires beyond just their salary? So if I go back to my slides here, there's a couple different ways that we can do this. Number one is we need to have a core belief, vision, mission, and values. Okay. And this is something that you need to come up yourself. You can't just ask your team, what's the vision and mission of our business? Because you are the leader. Okay. You have to lead them to a more promising future. If your team has a bigger vision than you will never, ever retain them. Okay. If your vision is not bigger, you'll never ever attract someone that has a bigger vision than you. And so you have to come up with what these things are and attract people to you who feel like their mission and their vision are encapsulated by your grand vision, right? That's what makes you the leader. That's what makes you the entrepreneur. It's what makes people want to follow you. So think of it as a dictatorship, not a democracy. If you already have a team, these are things that you need to come up with. So your core belief could be, We believe every human has something remarkable to offer this world. Your vision could be we provide people with the opportunity to explore the infinite potential and expansive possibilities of the human experience. A mission would be to help 5,000 plus individuals get closer to the life of their dreams through a healthier mind, body, and soul provided by one or more of our paid services by December 31st, 2025. Now, keep in mind that the vision, this is a very general statement. Okay, you want it to be general so that you can adapt your strategies and your missions to achieve that vision. When you don't have the right vision, it can completely crumble your entire company because it's going to prevent you from being able to see different opportunities that are out there. For an example, like Blockbuster, their vision was to provide DVDs and VHSs to the household for creating the best family experience. Okay, that was basically their vision. And because their vision was so narrow, focused on DVDs and VHSs, that they never even considered the possibility of online streaming and video. And because their vision wasn't general enough, they never pivoted to different ideas that could have kept their business going and competitive as the industry started to adapt. So we want our vision to be general so that we could adapt with the market as it changes. And then the mission, we want to be extremely specific. We want to know exactly who we're serving, what it is we're trying to accomplish, and when we're trying to accomplish it. So we need this to be a SMART goal. Okay. I think the SMART acronym is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely is what I think it is. I could have made that up. If I'm wrong, someone fact check me in the comments, but that's what we're looking for. Now, on top of that, once we have the vision and the mission and what it is we're going to accomplish, now we need to clearly define how exactly are we going to achieve that mission. We achieve that mission through we achieve that mission through our core values. This is how we're actually going to achieve that. Now, here at Clinical Marketer, these are our 6 core values. And we use this in every single thing that we do. Every week or every month, we have a team meeting and we go over these. And we actually award people and nominate each other for embodying these values. These values are how we make decisions on a day-to-day basis. Is what creates our habits at work. And it also is what creates the culture that is going to make other people want to come and be a part of what it is that we're doing. Once they see the mission, that's great. They love the mission, but how we accomplish that mission is going to be even more important. So ours, 1% better every day. We have a high performance culture where every single day, each one of us is trying to become our absolute best and try to get better every single day. Number 2 is people over numbers. Okay, we'll never sacrifice the greater good of our clients and our team for individual gain or for financial gain. Okay, we always put people first, and we know that by putting people first, the numbers will eventually catch up by putting goodwill out there into the world. Number 3 is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. We don't make rush decisions. Every single thing we do it slowly. And while other companies are trying to scale as fast as they can, and they don't care how many people they burn or what happens to their fulfillment or their client experience in the process, we are focusing 100% on the client experience. And through focusing on the client experience and client results, that's what actually creates a highly scalable system where sales starts to pick up faster and faster and faster. And we found that by doing this, although initially other businesses were passing us by and growing faster than us, we have since soared past them because we had such a strong foundation of excellence that as that picked up and word of mouth and retention continued to grow, our business just exploded. Now we're doing over $2 million per year. And so although at first we moved slower than everyone else, we've now blown past them because we took everything slow. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. 4 is extreme ownership. Okay, every single one of us, we don't blame anyone else. We take absolute responsibility over every single thing that goes wrong. Even if I didn't have anything to do necessarily with what happened, it's my fault because I could have given clearer instructions. I could have gave better mentorship and support to help make sure that outcome was what I needed it to be. That's how our entire team thinks and operates. We're always thinking that there's something I could have done that would have created a better outcome. And so it's amazing when you have an entire team that takes full ownership over every single thing that they do and everything that went wrong that they could have done more to help create a better outcome. Number 5 is protect your biology. We force people to take off. People have to take care of themselves, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, it's going to hurt every single thing that we do, especially as an entrepreneur. Okay, if I'm not taking care of myself, my entire company suffers, because if I have low energy, my team's going to have low energy. If I don't pour my heart and soul into each piece of content that I create, our acquisition is going to hurt, and it's going to hurt sales. And so protecting our biology by taking breaks, by going to the gym, by eating healthy, by drinking water, these are the things that are most important to us, because we know even if it means we're working fewer hours, we know that the efficiency and the productivity and the output of the things that we do actually do are going to move the needle far more than if we just stay in the grind and hustle and focus on just busy work. We work less probably than most other teams do, but we're able to grow much faster than anyone else and get better outcomes, because every single thing that we do it with intention and with our absolute highest amount of energy and joy being poured into it, because we're well rested and well taken care of. Lastly, it's dependable and supportive. Every single one of us, every single thing that we do, when someone's slacking, if someone's having a bad day, somebody's sick, we pick up the slack and we jump in and help one another. We always offer, ask, what can I do to serve you today? How can I help make this the easier and better for the client? And so these are the core values that we use to drive excellence inside of our team. And if someone that we're hiring doesn't align with one of these, it's an automatic no hire. Okay, these are the tools that we don't only use to drive daily decisions, but we use it to attract talent and to repel the people who aren't a good fit. Because even if someone is an A player on your team, but they don't align with your core values, they're going to be a toxic weight on your business. They're going to bring the entire team down. Even if they're a top producer, maybe they're the best physical therapist on your team, they have the highest package close percentage, but they are negative. They don't share their knowledge and their training with other people on the team to help them succeed. They have a me versus the world mentality that is going to bring the culture and the entire team down. And you're going to find that it's extremely hard to scale, and it's really hard to bring in really good talent, because that one person is serving as a deterrent for the entire thing. And so when we're hiring, not only do we have to have these things in place to attract the best talent, but we have to use it as an ironclad rule that if someone doesn't align with these values, they're not a good fit for the team. They can go find a job somewhere else. I promise you, it's going to hurt the business so much more, no matter how bad you need and want to hire. If you hire the wrong person, it is going to crush your growth and your scalability moving forward. So create your core values and make sure that you stick to them and use them to make every single hiring decision. Okay, if you have questions on any of those things, please feel free to drop them in the comments when you're ready. So prerequisite to hiring is have your vision, your mission, and your core values nailed down, because that is going to be the tool that you're going to use to not only bring in people to differentiate your position from other positions that are out there, but it's also going to be your tool for measuring whether or not people are a good fit for your team and for your business, and if it's going to be a healthy decision. So those are the prerequisites to actually hiring. Okay. The other things that I want you to consider is to begin the hiring process before you're actually ready to bring somebody on. A lot of people that we've worked with that really, really struggle to retain talent that they do hire is because they hired too late. They allowed themselves to get too busy. And so they waited until they had 30 patients on their schedule as a solo practitioner. And then they're like, oh, this is really, really difficult. I'm going to hire. And if they do find somebody, suddenly they have this person that they need to onboard, they need to train, they need to indoctrinate into their culture, they need to spend time with, but they have a full caseload. And so they're unable to be the leader that they need to be to get this person bought into the vision and excited to be a part of the team, because they're too busy with patients. And so the best time to begin the hiring process is when you are at a consistent 20 visits a week. That's going to give you the time and the flexibility to not only focus on that hiring, but also the onboarding, the training, and getting that person really excited to be a new member of your team. So start the hiring process when you're at just 20 visits a week. Even if you're not quite ready to hire, it still is going to be very, very helpful to have that job posting out there, because more than likely it's going to take longer than you expected to find the right fit person for your team. And so post your first job posting once you're at 20 visits a week and start accumulating your talent pool of potential hires when you actually are ready. Because again, it is going to take longer than you think to actually find the right fit person for your team. Us at ProKinetics, we now do not have a job posting. Even when we're not hiring, we still always have a job posting out there to accumulate how many opportunities we have, so that when we are ready to hire, we already have a talent pool. We've already spoken with them. We've interviewed several of them already, and we have several PTs who are on deck ready for jobs as soon as we're ready to hire, so that we don't skip a beat and we can continue to grow and scale and not have to pause everything and slow down when we reach that ceiling that we can't grow beyond. And so always be hiring, and don't wait until you're too busy to be able to effectively train and onboard somebody. Okay, so that's secret number one. Always be hiring. Once you're at 20 visits a week, put a job posting out there. When you get applicants, interview them, jump on the phone with them, take them through the process. And if you're ready to hire them right then and there, great. If not, let them know. It's like, hey, we're going to be opening up this position in 2 to 3 months. If you find another position, I totally understand, but we're going to put you on the wait list so that when you're ready to rock, you can get started right away. Okay, so always be hiring. Number 2 is kind of going into what I just discussed, is making sure that you're focusing around the culture that you have, because that is ultimately why people decide to stay with anybody, because they love their job, they love the impact that they're actually having, and they feel like the people that are around them are helping them become the best versions of themselves. This year, we've hired several PTs, and across the board, what people are looking for are working in places with other elite physical therapists that have a lot of credentials that they can actually learn from. And so if you are a highly trained physical therapist that has a lot to train and to give to other PTs, that is a tremendous differentiator from other job opportunities that are out there. And so focus on the culture that you have. What is it that you can give to them aside from just a salary? What kind of meaning and purpose can you put out there that's going to get people excited to come in and work for you? A few things that we put on our job postings that have made the biggest difference is focusing on the lifestyle. Number one is most of the people that we're trying to hire, they are going from 30 visits a week. And when they work with us, not only can they make 6 figures a year, but they're only going to see 6 to 8 patients each and every day, meaning they get to go home earlier. They have more energy. They're working with patient populations that they actually enjoy, which are active adults. And the equipment that we have aren't just rubber bands and 15-pound weights. Okay, we have elite gym equipment so that there's a lot more leverage and flexibility in different treatment approaches, so that our PTs can use the techniques and treatment approaches that they wish that they could use in their current job. And so that's been a huge draw. Aside from having an elite team that can mentor and coach them, we have all these other really impactful things that are completely change the level of fulfillment and joy that PTs get to have out of working with our patients. Beyond that, our mission is to treat people the way healthcare is supposed to treat people, where we're not treating symptoms, we're treating root causes and getting people the life-changing outcomes that are going to allow them to remain healthy and active long past their retirement, and give them tools and resources to be able to prevent injuries so that they can live the kind of life that they've always dreamed of, where having to use a walker or having to quit our favorite activities aren't just a inevitable life sentence. And so that's our mission, to completely change what the general public perceive physical therapy actually is. We're trying to get people to see physical therapy as a part of daily life, just like within dentistry. When you have cleanings and checkups every 6 months, that is our mission, to completely change the perspective of what physical therapy is and can be. And physical therapists, they're really, really excited about that. We have PTs who are leaving jobs that pay them significantly more to come and work with us because of our culture, of what it is we're trying to do for the physical therapy industry, because of the lifestyle that we're able to offer them, and the different um, mentorship opportunities we have and the types of equipment that we get to have where they truly are limitless and the approaches that they can take that they know is going to get their patients the best results. And so because of those reasons, people are willing to take pay cuts to come and work with us, and why we have such a large wait list of an incredibly talented talent pool to draw from every single time that we are ready to hire. And so number one is always have a job posting out there as soon as you're seeing 20 patients a week. We also, another good rule to follow is whenever you have a net patient gain of 10 or more each and every week. That means if you're only focused on organic marketing, your net patient gain is basically how many patients did you get this month and how many were discharged. Okay, that take away how many patients you got minus how many patients were discharged, and that's going to be your net patient gain. Now, that's going to tell you that you're getting enough new patients each month that you're going to be able to fill a new hire schedule just through the growth that you already have. Now, if you're using paid ads, you're able to fill them. You don't have to worry too much about net patient gain because you can use ads to fill their schedule pretty quickly. But that is the safest way to know that you're ready to hire. When for the last 3 months, you've had a net patient gain of 10 new patients. Okay, that leads into my third tip about hiring and attracting top tier talent. Number one is, or the third step is have a 90-day onboarding cycle. And so a lot of people, they never hire when they're supposed to because they think they need to be able to start off their PT full time right out of the gate. That is not true. We have not done that since we started our practice. It's been five years. We've got a team of 8 different clinicians and we're pretty dang successful. And so the way that once we find the right person that aligns with our culture and our core values and is excited by the mission that we're trying to have out there, and we bring them in, we don't just start them off with a full schedule. We have a 90-day ramp-up period where we're slowly ramping them up over time to make sure that they love our organization, that they understand our patient experience. We're able to train them on how to sell to our patients, the treatment standards that we have, and get them really indoctrinated into our way of doing things. So they start off part-time, and then each month we build up their caseload by another 10 patients a week. And so we started them off with 10 visits. Next month, they got 20 visits. Then month 3, we're ramping them up to a full schedule at 30 to 35 visits. And that gives us time to make sure that not only are we a good fit for them, but that they are a good fit for us. And that we have the time set aside each day to focus on training, to focus on teaching them how to sell, helping change their mindsets around asking people for money and making sure they really understand our treatment approach. And so those are the 3 things that you need to consider when you start to hire. Number one is that you need to hire if you want to have any sort of freedom and flexibility in your life as a cash physical therapist. That's the prerequisite. Then we need to make sure that we have a vision, a mission, and core values that's big enough to not only attract top tier talent, but the vision needs to be so big that their vision for themselves fits underneath it. Again, you will never attract anybody or retain a staff PT that has a bigger vision than you. They're going to go and start their own thing. So you have to have a bigger vision than the people that you're attracting. So we need to nail down what is the vision that's going to guide our business. What is the mission that we're going to use to measure our growth towards that vision? And then what are the core values that we're going to embody that is going to make that vision and that mission possible? Okay. And so we need to have those things first because that is what is going to attract and retain the top talent. They don't care as much about salary. What they care about is, does what I do have purpose? Is this actually making an impact? And can I achieve the things that I want to achieve in life through what it is that we're doing here? Okay. So that's 1 and 2. Number 3 is making sure that we aren't procrastinating on hiring by thinking we need to start them off full time. Hire them part-time first and ramp them up over 90 days when you feel comfortable with your net patient gain that you're going to be able to fill their schedule over that time period. That's going to allow you to hire earlier, and it's going to help make sure that you've hired the right person, they align with your culture, and they're going to be a good long-term fit. And make sure that when you do bring somebody on, you want to make sure that you have a schedule that's open enough to be able to give them the time and the energy to understand your process, to understand your patients, your treatment expectations, your quality standards, the way that you sell. You need to be able to train those people. If you wait until your schedule is completely packed and you don't have time to train and onboard that person, it's going to lead to a horrible experience, because at the end of the day, as soon as you reach the third stage of cash physical therapy, where you're now building the team that builds the business, your customer is no longer the patient. As the owner, your customer is the person that you just hired. Okay, your team is now your customer. The product that you sold, the people you hire, is the company itself. And so if you are not available to be able to pour your knowledge and your support into those people, they're going to have a horrible experience, and they're going to go find a different company that has a better product to sell them. Okay, and so your customer are the people that you hire. And so make sure that when you do hire, you have the time and the capacity to be able to pour into that person to make sure that their experience is world-class, so that they stick with you long-term. Okay, so those are the key takeaways for how to hire the top tier talent that's out there, how to retain them, when should you hire. There's obviously so much more to this stuff, and it's hard to put it all into a 40-minute presentation. But for those of you who are looking to hire in 2025 and you're looking for a little bit of guidance on, how can I gain consistency in my lead acquisition so that I can feel comfortable in hiring someone? How do I know when to actually hire? What do the job postings look like? How do I stand out? How do I interview these people? How do I onboard them? How do I make sure that I build a culture where I have a team that builds the business for me, so that I can get my time back and focus on the things that I love, both in life and in business? Now, if you're looking for help on any of those things, put team below. We'll follow up with you. We'll break down how it is that we help cash physical therapists build a consistent schedule, teach them how to hire, when to hire, and how to effectively onboard top tier talent, so that you can start to grow in scale in a way where your life actually gets easier as you do it, rather than it getting harder with each and everything that you stack on to grow the business. Everyone, thank you for being here. Again, if you caught this live, comment live. If you're catching the replay, comment replay. Everyone, if you celebrate Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas. Have a fantastic New Year. We'll see you next Monday for another training for the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters community.